So, as you might have guessed from my general aesthetic for my channel and videos, I really love Animal Crossing. I've grown up with the series ever since I was just a little alpine, starting all the way back with my very first game, Animal Crossing Wild World, my personal second favourite in the series. I couldn't really explain what it was exactly that drew me to the game, but I can show you the ad that sold me on it. Picture this, it's a foggy wet morning on a school day. All alpines were dressed up ready for school. I think I was in year 3 at the time, so I would have had to have been about 7 or 8 years old. And while I waited for my mum to finish getting ready to drop me off, I had a little time to watch TV. And in that short 20-minute interlude, I managed to catch the most peculiar ad I've ever seen. Something about animals?
I followed the blue sky to a place called Animal Crossing. I planted new flowers in the morning. Then I treated myself to a short break at the coffee shop. And later I went to the observatory and gazed at the stars in the night sky. Enjoy the freedom of a stress-free life in Animal Crossing Wild World, only on Nintendo DS.
And just like that, I was hooked. I didn't know if it was the music, narration, or the visuals I was seeing on screen, but I really wanted this little animal game now. My memory's a little hazy being a kid and all, but I'm pretty sure my mum gave it to me as an early birthday present one day after school, and I just fell in love. I don't think I was particularly good at the game, or even understood what I was doing, but I knew I wanted to expand and decorate my house, chill at the roost, and make friends with all the villagers. It was from here I came to love villagers like Goldie, Barbara, and Margie all these years later. While my love for the game did eventually taper out after about 2 years of playing, it was mostly because I felt like I'd hit the limit of everything I could do, despite barely filling up a museum or finishing my loan. However, my hostess suddenly built back up in 2013. While reading the Nintendo magazine that my parents would occasionally buy for me every other month. Side tangent, does anyone else remember the official Nintendo magazine in the UK? But yeah, does anyone remember N-Gamer? Man, I really miss silly gaming magazines and their dumb gifs and fun reveals. Fly high, Kings. But it was through this that I learned there was a new Animal Crossing game coming to the 3DS called New Leaf? And even better, it's releasing in 3 months? And even more, 3 days before my birthday too? And it was like the best graphics I've ever seen. And so the cycle repeated, but this time it ended up lasting a lot longer than I expected, with New Leaf becoming one of my favourite 3DS games next to Fantasy Life. With the Welcome Amiibo update and Happy Home Designer, it just ended up prolonging my love for the series as a whole. It also finally convinced me to getting around and playing the original GameCube game and Let's Go to the City in my teens, just to see what I was missing out on, which was quite a lot actually. Who knew just playing handheld versions meant I was missing out on larger experiences? I mean, don't they look identical? Never change, Wild World. Mwah. Anyway, time skip, and I'm finally in university. The next title of Animal Crossing has just been announced after Isabel's Smash Bros. Ultimate reveal trailer. Crazy time. And after a lot of waiting, and the world going crazy for a little bit, we finally got New Horizons as of March 2020, and for the first 2 years, I loved it. I invested over 800 hours into it, stuck around for the full 2-year update cycle, bought the DLC, and even stuck around a year after before finally finishing everything I wanted to out of my island. And with that, I put the game down. And since then, I haven't really picked it back up, or felt a reason to. It's most likely because I haven't hit that nostalgia stage yet, like with Wild World or New Leaf, to drive me back to the series. But I don't think New Horizons really offers too much to draw its users back. Want in-depth villager dialogue? Or just play the original or Wild World? Want fun things to do or minigames? Well, play Let's Go to the City in New Leaf. I mean, I do think New Horizons offers the best in terms of island, house, and character customizations, but is that really enough to come back and play consistently? At that point, you could just go over to Pocket Camp. That's really customizable. So, since I'm an artist with a bit of free time, and I've been thinking about New Horizons a lot recently, I thought I'd design some features I wish we got in New Horizons. A few basic ones, a few wilder ones, and just generally thinking of different ways I would have fleshed out the game a bit more, and give me and other players more reasons to come back. So, without further ado, let's start our paseo. Well, I did say it's been a bit since I last played. Let's just get on to the first idea. Firstly, we need more shop upgrades. Now, if you watched any video talking about missing content from New Horizons, then you've probably heard it before, so I won't ramble too much on. But Nook's Cranny really needed another upgrade or two. It's a very loud and repeated statement, but it doesn't make it a wrong one. Having only 3 pieces of furniture on display, 2 table items, an occasional seasonal item, and all the fun stuff kept in a cabinet on the side is really boring and extremely limiting. I think there should have been at least one more upgrade added in the 2.0 update. which, just like a New Leaf, would have involved Leaf joining in. Perhaps after hitting a certain combined spend limit at Nook's Cranny and Leaf's stall, I'm thinking around 400 to 500,000 bells, you can catch a small event in the store where Timmy and Tommy are talking to Leaf about a possible greenhouse expansion, to which our favourite green thumb Sloth agrees. And after a day of construction, you can unlock Nook's Cranny Mark III, or Nook's Store, whichever sounds cooler I guess. I'm not really good at store names. The store is now a tad bigger, with a jutted out window, bigger store cover, a larger sign that's reminiscent of the Super TNT sign from New Leaf, and the new addition of the greenhouse on the right, which has a tree growing out of it, just to keep with that naturey feel, because I never really liked how a lot of the stores go full fancy corporate style. I know New Horizons likes to feel very nature and earthly themed, so I thought to keep it with the local aesthetic. Everything's been upgraded to be a little bigger, kind of like the Able Sisters, now displaying up to 6 pieces of furniture, 2 of which could be wall items, as well as 4 table toppers, and maybe some gear or songs laid out on a side table or something. By giving the whole place a larger image and selection, it really helps to show players how much they've worked to improve the place, contrasting that original tiny hut we started out with, as well as just making it easier to collect things like furniture and music. Timmy and Tommy have now been upgraded to suits instead of aprons, just because I thought it was cute and they look like such little dapper gentlemen in them. And now to your right, there's an entrance to a new extension, the greenhouse, where Leaf is stationed. He sells free flowers, free saplings, and 2 plants, along with either a watering can or an axe depending on the day. Maybe some days you can get both, who knows? You can also visit Leaf to sell him weeds for slightly higher price of bells, giving a fun incentive to keep your island clean and tidy. Like I said, I don't want to ramble too much on about Nook's Cranny and get into some more fun ideas, but I just wish we got one more upgrade to really finish off the store. While I'm at it, we should have seen the return of letters. While postcards get the job done, they lack the charm that letters really had in the old game, from picking out fun paper to buy, writing your personal message, and then heading to the post office to either have Penny or Phyllis post it for you. It was a whole process and thing to connect with your villagers, and it made it a lot more personal. But now you just go up to a postcard stand, click the postcard you like, write a short message, and then send it. And that's it. It's done. What's the fun? What's the charm? What's the pelicans? My idea is that the airport should receive an expansion, to add on an extra wing. Maybe after playing the game for a month or so, you can catch either Wilbur or Orville talking about how it feels a bit cramped and calling in a favour from a friend. But what friend could that be? With that, you're then able to pay for an expansion to the airport. And while construction might take a day or two, it shouldn't affect the gameplay, because I know that would basically shut off a part of the game, which is quite stupid and silly. Now, I'm no architect, but I thought the new look could be a little like this, with a new wing protruding out, making the entrance a little wider. There's a weather vane stuck to the side, kind of like some of the older post office designs. The air towers are now a little taller, and depending on the colour of airport, it also changes the colour of extension. But generally when designing this, I just imagined it as red. Once you walk in, you'll see a new entrance to your right, which leads to the new post office that will have either Penny or Phyllis working at the desk, in their new matching air stewardess outfits, just to keep up with the airport theme. I tried to keep the area simple and clean, with a bit more emphasis on world travel, with the stained glass in the beams, and a marble tile floor to resemble a letter. To keep up with the new that New Horizons so likes to add, I also threw in a new member to the team, just like Daisy May or CJ and Flick. So, introducing Steven. Or as he likes to go by, Finn, just to keep up with the P name motifs. Finn is a young stork dressed in a hat and air steward suit, although it's too big for him, and he's eager to help people connect and spread their messages across the globe. So he decided to take up a part-time job to help spread joy and to learn to fly better. He carries all his letters in a pink fabric sash, kind of motifing a baby swaddle, which is kind of what storks are sort of known for. He's a little older than Daisy May, but he's still just a kid, so you'll catch him working the morning shift, in which he'll appear if you order too much stuff. However, for any deliveries past 5, they'll be handled by our new night shift worker, Pete, who will also appear if you order too much stuff. On Sundays, you might be able to catch Finn on his day off if you go to the Roost, drinking hot chocolate by the counter. And for another fun chance, if you go past 12 PM, there's a chance you could run into him chatting to Daisy May, who's just finished selling her turnips for the day. You can catch them talking about balancing their work and other responsibilities, like chores and playtime. However, if you leave it till past 6 PM, you can catch Pete on his day off instead. And his special guest that he can chat with is either Wilbur or Orville, as they talk about the joys of flying or feeling free. However, their chat probably doesn't last long because they do have to get back to work. I just thought they'd make for fun pairs and show them as old friends. One last expansion I wish we could have seen was with the Able Sisters. Why couldn't we have seen Kix expand upstairs? Coming off of New Leaf, the Able Sisters just seems so empty now. No Labels accessory room to the right, no shampoodles upstairs, and no Kix next door. I know the shop's design was meant to be a nod to its City Folk design, but just expanded a little. Just like how City Folk's design was based off Wildwood's design, but expanded a little. Just like how Wildwood's design was based off the original design, which was expanded a little. Okay, there's a lot of expansions going on here. But where the originals had a lot more smaller, tighter interior to really make it feel like you're in a small, self-owned business, the new one was expanded a little too much. While I do get that homely vibe going on, it also just feels quite empty and spacey. Almost too generically clothed store now. So, just like Nook's Cranny, maybe hitting a certain spend limit like 50 to 100k bells pulled between the Able Sisters and Kix, you could trigger a cutscene where Kik and the Able Sisters agree to renovate the store and add space upstairs. And after a day of construction, you can see the newer, taller building, with an extra floor added, a little sign to tell you Kik has joined the group. When it came to the floor space, I thought to replace the changing room section with stairs, and move them underneath it with a sign pointing them out, while sticking the custom design machine that was originally at the back over by Sable, just so you have to pass it each time and maybe give her a chat. Accounting if you don't have the app for this, of course, yet. With its old spot just being replaced with a mannequin, just to fill up space, I guess. Heading upstairs, you can find the newly built Kix, which features a nice shoe and accessory section to the store. Now you don't need to go looking for Kix at Halves Island or waiting for his day of the week. Just head upstairs and it'll point out all the new bags he's got and some fun hand items you could hold. You could maybe even bring back the old City Folk shoe shining mechanic, where perhaps if you pay him a few bells, he'll shine your shoes so they'll sparkle for the rest of the day. Just small details like that. Or perhaps even, when he first moves in, it's just a bare bones attic with smaller stock, so you have to keep coming back daily, buying and supporting him in any way you can. That way he's able to afford more renovations and upgrades, expanding it slowly to be the best it can be. Once hitting that final upgrade, maybe downstairs can start displaying some accessory items in their windows, just to draw more villagers in, and really show that they're now a united business. Now speaking of expansions, the second feature I want to expand on is cooking. Cooking was a fun system to introduce in New Horizons. It was added in its final 2.0 update, and actually let us use the kitchen furniture we've had in the game for all these years. Recipes could be either found, given, or redeemed via Nook Miles, and that way you could cook food to either eat, display, or gift. Well, a neat idea. The whole system unfortunately just serves little to no purpose other than regaining energy or for decorating. And I think my biggest gripe is, depending on how you do your island layout or collect resources, you might already just have a bunch of fruit that would be more resourceful to use for gaining energy and decorating as is. To try and add more to the system, I thought it'd be more interesting if the food was split up into different categories. Food will now feature little indicators, which will tell you whether it's delicate, fruity, earthy, sweet, bitter, or rich. Delicate foods tend to be soft and simple. Fruity tends to be a bit more, well, fruity and tangy. Earthy is crumbly and natural. Sweet is sugary and crunchy. Bitter is sharp and a little sour. And rich is filling and flavorful. Then, out of that list, villagers will prefer up to 2 categories that they love, and then 2 categories that they hate, with the remaining 2 just being neutral to them. But how can you tell what villager likes what? Well, by their personalities. Jocks tend to prefer earthy and rich foods, something that's filling and full of energy/protein for their workouts, while disliking delicates or sweets as they're seen as cheap meals or unhealthy to their diet. On the other hand, snooty villagers prefer delicate and bitter, something that's a bit more refined and posh, while disliking earthy and rich, as there's either too much food, or it just makes a mess everywhere on their furniture. And then someone like lazy villagers would love sweet and fruity, just lots of sugary pastries and snacks, but dislike bitter and delicate, as it messes with their laid-back attitude. Villagers may come to you now from time to time, asking for you to make a certain treat, or one that you think they'd like. So now it's up to you to figure out what categories they like, and make their favourite snacks. That, you could always just cook up a dish to bring over to your favourite villager, just to show you care, or even welcome someone new into town. Plus, by doing more cooking in the game, it means players are required to do more farming, therefore it's adding back into the gameplay loop, and giving reason for players to make space and grow vegetables, because that was also another mechanic that wasn't really developed on. And while we're expanding on mechanics, we need more jobs! Everyone talks about New Leaf and its barista job, but there's a reason for that. It was fun! Taking a short break to work at the cafe, getting to know your local villagers and NPCs, and bonding with Brewster, it all meant something, and it helped you connect with the game more. I get the main job in New Horizons is to be the resident representative as well as designer, so your primary focus should be on creating your perfect place. But I think there should have been a list of optional side jobs to do that slowly unlock as you progress in the game. Working as a barista again in Roost would be really fun, giving some more dialogue options to villagers who sorely need it, and NPCs to stop by. But also give us a chance to go closer to Brewster each shift, just like in New Leaf. It's a whole lot more interesting than just stopping by daily to get your coffee just so you could boost up the affection and get extra items out of him. Maybe a more out there idea could be a rhythm game at Nook's Cranny, where you help Timmy and Tommy restock the shop and prepare items for the day. You could follow an on-screen button combos to tie up presents, refill medicine bags, or if that's a little too out there, you could always have a time minigame in the back storeroom, where you have to pick up items and take them to their correct shelves. But watch out, Timmy and Tommy are sometimes going to scuttle by carrying heavy furniture, which, if you run to, will make you drop all your items and stun you for a bit, which is what they'll judge you on and how much you'll get paid for or rewarded. I don't know if they'll give you money or items, I didn't really think that far in the system. What about some other museum jobs? Maybe once a day you can talk to Blathers and he'll assign you a task like dusting the art gallery, sweeping up dirt in the bugs exhibit, or mopping drink puddles in the aquarium. This in turn gives us more reasons to visit certain areas and buildings again, more than just checking in once in a while to take aesthetic pics and then leaving for months on end. I mean, the new museum is so beautifully designed. I want more reasons to go back. I want to do things in there. Okay, last job idea. Tired of working inside? Well, you could always catch Leaf. Maybe you have some volunteer work to help clean up polluted islands. That way you can clean up areas of excessive weeds, trash that was either washed up or left on the beach, and break any rocks in the way of water paths. And in return for helping the environment, Leaf will reward you with some unique coloured flower seeds. Something that can help give you a boost if you're struggling to breed unique colours, but also teaching players about unique coloured flowers, because sometimes people might have not just discovered that feature yet. I know I've thrown out quite a few big expansions and changes, so why don't we wind down with a few smaller ones that I couldn't really fit into some of the bigger sections. Starting off, I'd love if we could get earrings added as an extra head accessory. Something pretty minuscule in terms of customization, but I always thought it'd be fun to have the option of wearing studs, hoops, or dangly earrings, all the more ways to style yourself. I know Pocket Camp does allow you to wear some earrings, which is really cool to see in an official Animal Crossing game. Well, sorta one. But they count as a face accessory, which you can only really wear one at a time of, so no fun pair-ups like blushy cheeks and dangly earrings, or a face mask and studs. Perhaps there could be a daily highlight exhibit in the museum too. Depending on your collection, a cutout of Blathers with a speaker will be placed by either a fossil, fish, bug, or art piece, and by walking up and interacting with it, you get some extra info about them, like history, or place of origin, or even just a neat fact, something to really make it feel like the museum's alive. Perhaps an odd suggestion, but maybe it'd be fun if there were different heights and weights to your character. I was just thinking about the Miis, and the features they had in their customization that helped to make it so expansive despite how simple it was. Instead of doing a slider option like in Mii Maker, I more pictured 3 options to choose from: shorter, average, or taller, with the game accounting for this by making the clothes squash or stretch depending on the height. Just a little way for people to add more personality to their character and their own villages. Although, the heights would only be able to be a little smaller or a little taller, depending on the one you pick, as you don't want to stretch the clothes too much and mess with the models. In the same way, I thought weight could be picked between 3 options: slim, average, or curvy, with each option tweaking the body and limb size a little bit to account for the changes. Unfortunately, since I'm more designing features to add into New Horizons, I don't think body types are something that can really be pushed too much with how the game was built and designed. As like I mentioned in heights, I sort of imagine the clothing can just stretch and expand in different ways to fit the new body types, as opposed to the devs having to create whole new items for the same clothes for each specific body type, which to do for each item in the 2.0 update would be a crazy amount of work. But for something like this to work better, it would have had to have been designed early in concept to be better incorporated. But I think even if a little janky, an attempt is still an attempt, which I think it'd be cool to see. Plus, I think they've sort of done as much as they can for customization as is, so other than some more skin tones, hairstyles, or noses, why not expand the Horizons to new heights? I get it. It's what I did that, like double blind, like the Horizons, like new and the heights, because I was talking about, who cares? Despite everything, I'm glad we got New Horizons and everything it came with. It was the longest time between any mainline Animal Crossing title, being over 7 years. But clearly, a lot of that time went towards all the different ideas and mechanic they had in mind for the game, thinking of different ways to revitalize the series or pivot in a new direction, even if it did isolate some older fans looking for that classic formula and bite, and a lot of the features feeling half-baked or not fully utilized. If it hadn't released at the time it had, getting caught up in such a strange period of the world, I don't think people would have burnt out as quickly or badly as they did with the game, and I think the devs probably would have got into a much better swing developing and updating the game as a whole, probably a lot more differently, maybe a little bit more like Splatoon 3's 3-month update cycle. I think I just wanted to make a video designing things to help flesh out areas I liked, rather than making a video pointing out at what's missing and being upset by that, because even after all this, New Horizons still holds a place in my heart as my 3rd favorite entry. When it comes to this game, I think we're all a little too quick to throw it to the wayside and move on. While it's important to let Nintendo know criticisms and where to improve, I think it's also good to let them know where they did right and should develop on further. Do you like my ideas? I know some of them might have been a bit basic, or a little out there, but I wanted to try and mix it up from my usual content, and just have a smaller, easy video to work on where I just chat about a thing I like a lot. Hey, maybe if you have any of your own ideas to add to New Horizons, let me know about them. I'd love to hear how you would go about fleshing out the game a bit more, or even how you might add on more to my ideas and concepts. I'm sure someone out there's probably got more interesting jobs than just cleaning and packing things away. Who knows, maybe if there's enough, I could always do a follow-up video using your guys' suggestions. But I hope you had a good time watching and have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. See ya!